Daniel's mind moved in spirals. I think he was constantly in a state of awe. And I think that probably goes to perhaps why he surrounded himself by so much stuff. Books, machinery, tools. It was a way for him to learn, to study, to be inspired, to put aside, which is not, I think, normal for regular human existence.
Daniel Brush was an alchemist. When I first met him, which was an extraordinary experience, he emerged from his jungle of antique guilloche machines in full regalia. The floor-length leather apron, the microscope glasses on his eyes. But I say Daniel was an alchemist because he was truly able to transform mundane materials into magnificent objects.
Daniel Brush is working at the scale of millennial thinking, the way that an object sits within a context of the universe itself. He was able to concentrate and to funnel his energies into a very, very small space. And I think that's what gives the work its power.
Time stood still when you looked at Daniel's work. It was simple but complex. It was ancient but modern. I personally think Daniel was a philosopher who also happened to make things. Everything he did was about ideas.
When you see something beyond what you can imagine that the artist can make, you can feel the spiritual side of the work.
I think that there is a timelessness to his work. Daniel was definitely an artist, or maybe Daniel created a category on his own. He was a jeweler's jeweler or a craftsman's craftsman. And when it came to working on the pieces themselves, he was doing everything by himself. To him, that was the integrity of his creation, that every single element on each single piece should be coming from his own hand.
I gotten to know Daniel a little bit, and I thought, wouldn't it be great if a piece of his work could be on view at the Met? He and Olivia decided it would be fine for me to select something. This is Torik, and this was the first piece by Daniel Brush that came to the Met. And it's made out of the aluminum tubing that is used for refrigeration coils on airplanes. Daniel was inspired by ancient Toriks that he saw at the Met in the Met's collection. Daniel took this gray aluminum and engraved it all over. If you get up close, you can see all these different engraved lines, and then studded it with multicolored diamonds.
There's something really mysterious about Daniel's engraving and the way that it would really illuminate the face of the wearer, and that would bring this kind of divine light out of the metal. These earrings were made by Daniel Brush. They're incredibly precious to me. The engraving is so perfect. Daniel did all this completely freehand, working into the metal.
We use techniques, ancient techniques like granulation. So granulation is this techniques that goes back to ancient Greece and before, where actually you are creating very, very tiny beads of gold. And he was doing that at a level of size and complexity that was supposedly impossible to get to. Thousands of beads. And of course, that was his motivation.
He could dispose reflection across a surface. The Cantos for 1,000 Miles pieces are a spectacular example of him using light. If you were able to manipulate it in your hand, what you would find is that it continually transforms. Of course, in that respect, it's very much like life. No one moment in life feels exactly like another moment. And somehow he's gotten that into this little square piece of material.
He made some rings in this sort of pale pink bakelite with sort of shards of coloured diamonds in them. It was the combination of something which is a humble material that no one cares about, sort of invisible within jewellery, and the most precious of things, coloured diamonds. And he brought them together in such a simple, harmonious way. And he thought that was hilarious. But underneath the humour, there was always a very poignant, interesting idea. He made me think about jewellery differently.
A technique is something people can learn. But coming up their emotions into the work is something so different. You wanted to hold it. You wanted to feel what he was thinking about when he's making it.
The work really was a record of both his heartbeat and his breath. It really recorded what he was feeling and being on that day, or that week, or that year. If one really looked, you knew. You could see. You could see a change in heartbeat. You could see a change in breath.
That was part of his quest, to make his mark. And I always liken that to his making his mark on the metal. And of course, I feel strongly, I'm absolutely 100% convinced that Daniel Brush will make a huge mark on history.
Some objects leap out to us as being almost magical points of connection to those times and places that we can't possibly imagine. And I really feel that Daniel's work will do that for people in the future when they look back at our time.
He taught himself year after year after year after year with skill to make skill disappear. And what you had in front of you, what was there for you to behold, it's just there.